because you know what I came in to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
Exploitive, oppressive and unethical business practices. So Jermaine Franklyn has filed a lawsuit against SALITA Promotions just 7 days before his big fight with Anthony Joshua at the O2 Arena, April the 1st. He's filed a civil lawsuit against Demetrius Salita's company, Justice Friday Gun. It's all about the percentage they are taking out of Jermaine Franklyn's money when they're not acting as a promoter, co-promoter, or involved in a purse bid. Franklyn feels that SALITA Promotions have taken advantage of their current contract situation. Their only duty is to give Franklyn permission to engage in a fight without their involvement. And it says here, the lawsuit states that the current agreement has allowed SALITA Promotions to take whatever amount it desires, while ignoring any negotiations preferred by Franklyn's team, including his legal advisor. The lawsuit also states SALITA has given Franklyn two choices for his last two professional bouts. They were said to be agree to the percentage and terms it demands or don't fight. Franklyn, he says he needs intervention or will continue to be subjected to this take it or leave it boxing industry tactic, or risk unreasonable withholding of lucrative career-changing opportunities. They also talk about the events that led up to his fight with Dillian Whyte. So SALITA Promotions sent an agreement to Franklyn claiming all they needed was his signature to make the Dillian Whyte fight happen. Franklyn signed, but instead they were trying to negotiate a fight between Whyte and Otto Wallin, another boxer that SALITA Promotions promote. And then to add insult to injury, Otto Wallin's team called out to Franklyn to spar him to prepare Otto for the Dillian Whyte fight that never materialized. And there's a few more bits and pieces to the lawsuit. I don't think it's going to affect Franklyn going into the fight because he looks pretty fit and he's showing a lot of training footage of him working really hard. All he's been speaking about is knocking Joshua out, upsetting the odds. So I don't think it will affect him. Although it just outlines the serious issues with professional boxing regarding contractual situations for boxers and how promoters conduct themselves. And Franklyn was struggling financially, so he agreed to help Otto Wallin train for a fight that he thought was his. That's crazy. Obviously, Dillian pulled out of the fight with a shoulder injury and then went into negotiations to get his mandated fight against Tyson Fury. I wonder what percentage SALITA are planning to take out of Jermaine Franklyn's purse with the Joshua fight next week, which will surely be his highest career payday. You know, situations like this can be tough preparing for a fight. It can be tough. Man's got children, bills, financial commitments. But he looks like he's blocking it out because I wouldn't imagine the lawsuit is a bigger priority than beating Anthony Joshua for Jermaine Franklyn. And I guess that's what he's prepping for in the event of a win. All the money he can earn. He doesn't want to be giving Demetri Salita all that control over his purses because more than likely, if he beats AJ, he'll be looking at a nice purse for that rematch with AJ. And in all truth, who Salita got? Are they still with Jarrell Miller, Otto Wallin? Jarrell Miller could be a decent payday. Otto Wallin, not so much. I don't even think Jarrell Miller is still with Salita. So if he was to beat AJ, there's the AJ rematch, and he'll be looking to probably do deals with the likes of Matchroom, BT, Top Rank, and Showtime, because Salita doesn't even have a network deal. So all they're going to be doing really is just eating off Jermaine's purses, and they're not doing none of the legwork. They're not competing for none of the purse bids. They're not promoting none of the fights Jermaine will be taking part in. They'll be just there as a mouthpiece, showing up to collect money. Good work if you can get it. Not so cool for the boxers. Highlight reels. Richard Commey looked like he got himself back into the fight with Jose Ramirez. Ramirez timed him with a very good right uppercut, put him down, had him hurt. 11th round, Commey went down again. The fight was waved off. Are Richard Commey's days as a contender finished, especially at 140? Looks like he's transitioning into that gatekeeper role right now. But Ramirez, he's bounced back from that Josh Taylor loss in 2021 with wins over Pedraza and Richard Commey. I feel he needs a bit more activity, but this is a good win. And he's back up there in the shake-up. I think he'll target the winner out of Puello and Rolly Ramirez. He definitely has a shot at winning another belt at 140. COMMEY, his last 5, he's only won 1. He's lost to Teofimo Lopez. Good victory over Jackson Marinez, who exposed Rolly. Lost the UD to Lomachenko. Split draw with Pedraza. And this KO defeat by Ramirez. He is fighting top draw opposition. But he now climbs to 30 wins, 27 knockouts, 5 defeats, 1 draw. Ramirez, 28 wins, 18 decided distance, only 1 loss to Josh Taylor. From the highlight reels, it looked like a pretty good fight, and COMMEY is always in good fights. And Ramirez has had his fair share of good fights too. Still not sure if David Benavidez beats Canelo. Still not sure. Caleb, he managed to keep him at bay for the first half of the fight. And this was a good test for Benavidez, it was, because Caleb really wanted this. He really wanted this. You know, when he started losing his grip on the fight midway through, he tried to stay in it. He threw a lot of low shots, you know what I mean? He went rogue, got cautioned by the referee. He tried to stay in there with them fast flurries. I was quite impressed with his hand speed, Caleb. Where David looks world class is if he can trap you on the ropes and start teeing off. Then he looks like a class fighter. But I'm not sure if he can get Canelo to stand on the ropes like that and tee off. I don't know. You can catch Canelo on them nights where he lays up on the ropes. You can. And that would be the window of opportunity for Benavidez to win the fight, I believe. David has got this thing, and I think it's a habit through fighting poor competition, where he leans over to punch rather than move his feet in position to punch. And he hasn't really been punished for it. And he hasn't really been punished for it because of the level of competition he's fought. Caleb's gas tank predictably let him down in the second half. How hard does Benavidez hit? I don't know. Caleb got through the 12 rounds, and David was saying he was going to knock him unconscious, put him in hospital, and he didn't even score a knockdown. And he threw a lot of lever. A lot of the shots are not full-blooded punches. Not an arm puncher so much. But if he's going to rely on just throwing a lot of punches at Canelo, what's he going to leave? He's going to leave gaps there. And if anyone can exploit gaps, one of the pound-for-pound best in the game sure can exploit gaps. David only has one gear, and that's to come forward and engage in phone booth warfare. Is that enough to beat Canelo? He doesn't have a knockout punch. He hits hard. He does hit hard. He's got size, volume. It's a competitive fight, you know. As long as there's no weight clauses on the fight, it's a competitive fight. I just think Canelo will have a little too much. I think it would be competitive if he throws them big, long punches continuously and tries to rough Canelo up. I think it would be competitive. It would be a good fight to watch. But Canelo has bivel issues. If he gets through Ryder, he has bivel issues. And some people might say, he's ducking Benavidez, Floyd, and Mike Tyson, who called him the Mexican Monster. And the fan base of support that will say it's ducking. I believe Bivol is a better fighter and a better fight for Canelo's legacy. He needs to avenge that loss. If Benavidez is still around when Canelo's ready, then he can get the shot. But he can't dictate to Canelo when that fight happens, as far as I'm concerned. Canelo's got so much people who want to get in the ring with him. I don't see David Benavidez as an outstanding contender between 168 and 175 to fight Canelo. I don't. You got Beterbiev, you got Bivol. But it is a career best win. Good for David Benavidez. It would actually benefit him to have a few more fights before taking Canelo on, if he's serious about winning it. The biggest worry is if he doesn't get the Canelo fight immediately. We can see them going right down the pecking order, fighting more washed up opponents, and he's not going to improve significantly enough to convince me he can beat Canelo by doing that. Just because you can't get the Canelo fight is not a good enough reason to fight piss poor opposition. It just isn't. Another plus for Benavidez is conditioning looked really good. That's what he's going to have to beat Canelo on, is conditioning, heart, attrition, volume. Now, if he's elite in them departments, yeah, he could win the fight, but you'd prefer someone that's highly touted to beat or fight Canelo or beat Canelo to be more skilled than David Benavidez. That's what I feel. I'm not saying he's dreadful or anything like that. I'm not saying that. You know, he busted up Plant pretty bad and was having his own way. But this is his best opponent. I think some of the people still calling for the Canelo fight are going over the top because he beat Caleb Plant. Maybe a little over the top. If John Ryder beats Canelo, will he try and fight John Ryder? That'd be a really good fight. A lot better fight than what a lot of people think. And I'll be picking the North Londoner to win. I would. I feel Canelo's quality will overturn David Benavidez' quantity. That's what I believe. I like the fact he's prepared to take it to his opponents, but that's because he hasn't really fought no one who can really hit or has any idea how to fight inside. And in Caleb Plant, we found out he had the perfect opponent. He doesn't know how to fight inside at all. At all. He was mauling inside, and the referee may have not did enough about that in terms of cautions and points taken away. On the undercard, phone booth warfare. They were both registered as 5'10", but Ramos looked taller to me, taller and bigger. And I can't wait to get the full version of this one. Jesus Ramos versus Joey Spencer. Spencer came off second in trench warfare, phone booth warfare. 7th round TKO. Spencer was down in the first. His legs never really recovered from that first knockdown, is what I read. His team threw the towel in. Excellent fight to watch, though, on the highlight reels. You know what I mean? That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Battle of undefeateds. Spencer, he goes to 16-1, 10 stoppages. Jesus, he goes to 20-0 with 16 inside the distance. Chris Colbert, who was outlanded 117-77 in power punches by Jose Valenzuela. Colbert was dropped in round 1, and Valenzuela apparently landed the harder punches. I saw the highlights, brief highlights, on Showtime. They gave it to Colbert, UD, 95-94, 95-94, 95-94 on all three scorecards. Colbert, he said he's not going to give Valenzuela a rematch. The general consensus, from what I'm seeing from the uploaders and media, is that
it's a robbery.
Sportsmen are entertainers. And a lot of great ATG sportsmen in all different sports have said controversial, insensitive things, whether sexually, racially, xenophobic, took politically unpopular opinions, etc., etc. But here's the thing. If you can go out there after you've said some dumb whatever and bang a hat-trick in a cup final or even in a regular 3-point match game, it's not necessarily all is forgiven or forgotten. But you banged in a hat-trick, the crowd are going delirious. The commentators and pundits are marveling over your skill. You attract endorsements, sponsorships, you sell soccer jerseys. So the PR people at the club, they're going to spin for you because they're not going to get rid of you. You're an asset. Now, I'm not giving anybody a license to be an idiot. Lawrence Okolie was already one of the more unpopular British fighters that I've witnessed since I've been watching boxing. Some say it's because he's black. Well, if that's the case, why is Anthony Joshua the highest paid British boxer in recent years and the box office king of British boxing, despite what Frank Warren is saying? We'll tackle that after this. And before that, you had Frank Bruno, one of the most popular sportsmen, period, from the United Kingdom. And let's not forget, they're still trying to make that Ben Eubank fight on the strength of what their dads did 30 years back. And that's two black British legends. But we have a paper trail from 2018 when he fought Isaac Chamberlain at the O2 Arena. They headlined. He won the fight, a 10-rounder. It was widely condemned for its lack of excitement. Then, months after that, there was the Matty Askin fight, another distance fight where Okolie was deducted 3 points for various fouls. The Ngabu fight, the finish was excellent, but up till that point, Okolie had entertainment issues in that. The last defense against Shalak, I think we was at a period after watching the Prajovic fight and the Glowacki fight where a lot of people thought, okay, Lawrence is over that period of his career where he seemed to suck the life out of the fight. I don't know if the inactivity hurt him. You know, he's been out over a year. But Okolie was deducted 1 point in the 11th for holding. in a fight that I predicted on Twitter would go 3. David Light went the distance. One of the scores was surprisingly close, 116-112. I don't think it was that close. And Lawrence was back in the doghouse, wasn't he? Like, post-fight. Worst fight I've seen. Eddie should be grateful that Ben Shalom took him off his hands. Or poached him or whatever.
Lawrence, people have been critical of your style in the past and have that word negative associated with it. When you hear the boos, I know you said that you're in the zone so you don't really hear it, but does it play in your mind that people will be critical again and maybe start to think, where the improvements under Sugar so far?
Well, I think for me it's a learning curve and a continuous journey. But I still look and I say, where's anyone that's even come close to beating me? Where's anyone that's come close to landing a shot? Whatever anyone wants to say, I want to put on more impressive performances, but this takes time.
And this is on the back of Okolie already being unpopular, talking about Eddie Hearn was a slave master. And whether you like it or not, to all the people who said, well, he should be able to speak his mind, Beats, why are you saying this and that? I'm saying that because we're talking about business here. It's not about my personal feelings or our politics about racial issues as black people. And I am black. This is about, you go into arenas around the country and the majority of the punters are white. And I'm not saying that means you have to be, yes, first have a 3 bags full. I'm not saying that. But here's the thing. He said what he said, and I'm all for you saying what you want to say. Trust me on that. The problem I had was he kind of retracted the vitriol of what he said when he said, oh, I didn't mean he was an actual slave driver. I just mean in this situation he's being manipulative. I don't mean that he's a slave driver. No, you shouldn't be trying to repair the statement. You said what you said. You said what you said. If you say someone is a slave driver, they're going to go back to colonialism. And if we're dealing with British slavery, we're going to be looking at names like Aluda, Equiano, William Wilberforce, names like that. If I call you a mechanic, we're going to be looking for traces of oil on your overalls. As men, we're held to what we say. We're held to what we say as men. And Okolie's a big man, just like you are and just like I am. None of us are perfect. Regardless of our colour, race, none of us are perfect. If something is derogatory said about black people, black culture, there are demographics of blacks who will band up together, depending what, and we'll try and repel whatever you think we're trying to label us with. And that's the same thing with white people too, right? If you're going to bring slavery into it, I saw it. There were people who said, I don't even like Eddie, but this Okolie guy is really getting on my nerves. Unless you can justify why you tagged him that, you was asking for trouble. And the fact that he didn't double down and qualify why he said that, he said, no, I didn't mean it like that. Well, that's a real poor choice of words, if it wasn't what you meant. Race is a very touchy, contentious topic. The facts are, when he said that, he became even more unpopular. Aside from the critiques about his performances, he became even more unpopular. He needed a spectacular performance to at least keep the people who really dislike him, to keep them off temporarily at least, to justify this new promised land that him and Joshua Boatsi have escaped to on Boxer XX. But we didn't get that. We didn't get that. And that was partly due to his opponent's solid chin, that has to be said. And Okolie didn't look as fast in there as what I've seen him. He didn't look as quick.
Lawrence Okolie is fighting this weekend. You could literally walk down any high street in the country and say to someone, have you heard of Lawrence Okolie? And the answer is no. Do you know he's fighting this weekend? No. The only relevant news topic for Lawrence Okolie in this promotion is Eddie Hearn. So this new promotional platform, right, it's not even on any kind of really relevant platform in America or globally. There's no distribution really with any major platforms. The audience is tiny in comparison to a Matchroom show. So this unbelievable move that's going to get you so much more exposure, no one knows you're fighting, they're giving away free tickets, there's no international TV distribution, and the only thing that's making it relevant is conversations about me.
That was post-fight. That was Eddie Hearn post-fight. They said 40% of the tickets were sold or something like that. There was a lot of comps given out. What I witnessed at the weigh-in, the fighter who got the loudest cheer was Michael Gomez Jr., son of Michael Gomez, a very popular fighter who beat the likes of Alex Arthur, probably his greatest win, and had Amir Khan on the deck in a losing effort. He got the loudest cheer at the weigh-in just before he pushed his opponent over. And at the Manchester card itself, his fight was the most entertaining. You know, bringing Bogdan Dinu in there for Frazer Clark. Frazer still managed to get cut just between the forehead and the eye. And the fight lasted 6 minutes before my guy gave up. I've seen fighters put up stiffer resistance than that in Britain and get their purses withheld. Well, they're saying his rib was broken. Fraser said he felt his rib break, so obviously they can't withhold his purse. But Bogdan Dinu, he's got paydays over here against Daniel Dubois and Fraser. That's it. That's it now. That's your lot. Home Office is stepping in. You're not getting back over here to fight. Sparring, you can do some sparring, yeah, no problem. But fighting, nah, done. I like Frazer Clark. I like his personality. And for some reason, Johnny Nelson and the pundits keep talking up his physical appearance, saying, oh, he looks more cut and shred and lean. He doesn't. He looks like a builder. He's not fast. His feet are slow. They paid him a whole load of money to turn pro, Ben Shalom, when he was going to sign to Eddie Hearn. The only reason he didn't go to Eddie Hearn is they put up the paper. They put up all that paper. And now you can see they're trying to fast track him. He's talking about 1 or 2 fights. He wants to fight Fabio Wardley. And it would be entertaining because Fraze is a naturally bigger man. He's got all that amateur experience on Fab. But it's a 50-50, and I'd give the edge to Fabio Wardley. If they were to fight in a couple of months, I'd give the edge to Fabio Wardley. We're still waiting for Ben Whittaker to come back from injury. Can't help being injured. The only person who's really sparkled from the fighters he's took from Matchroom is Liam Smith in the last performance against Eubank. That's probably the best investment so far, is Liam. You know, Ben came and did a few interviews post-fight, addressing the boos for Okolie, saying, yeah, people wanted to see knockouts, but he's glad he got the W. He's got a massive building job with Okolie to do. Yeah, he retained the belt. But to me, they can't put him in another mark time bout, just in case it turns into a stalemate. They can't do that. To me, they have to look to fight Billiam Smith next, or Riakporhe. You've got the fighters there. This is going to sound a bit harsh. Mark time fights are not going to work with Okolie. He's not going to get that pass from the media or the fans. A lot of them want to see him gone. So you're going to have to bring in opponents who at least give the media and fans the hope that maybe they can turn Okolie over. Because most want to see him gone. He got a horrible reaction yesterday. A horrible reaction. Now, if Okolie embraces that role and can knock them off, Billiam Smith, Riakporhe, then maybe they have a trading card. They're coming there to see him lose. But if Okolie can stubbornly resist the urges of the media and the fans and turn back whatever challenges, he gets paid. And perhaps one day he'll win the fans back over. But right now, they're just not in love with Lawrence Okolie. Even Jai Opataya, the Australian IBF champion, he said, grass growing, paint drying, Okolie boxing. Just a reminder who's the man in this division. I went to him because I didn't want to start reading what all the people on Twitter were saying and fans, because then it would look like there's a witch hunt against the guy. So I went to one of his potential rivals, just to give you a indication of the feeling out there for Lawrence Okolie. And it's not good. But the pluses are, he did retain his belt. He did get the W. Like he said, he's one of the few British world champions out there. I don't believe Matchroom have any male world champions at all. None. Boxer have a co-promotional deal with Josh Taylor and Top Rank. And obviously they have Okolie. Off the top of the head, Frank Warren is Tyson Fury. I can't think of anyone else. And obviously there's Sonny Edwards. Is Pro Benham still alive? But he's out there and he's a world champion.